Hi, I'm Larry Lamar Yates. I live in Winchester, and I'm running for the Virginia House of Delegates from the 29th District. Last January, if you had asked almost anyone who was going to be elected from the 29th District this fall, they would have told you that Delegate Beverly Sherwood would be reelected. But democracy does funny things sometimes. Now, many of you who think of yourselves as moderates may feel you don't have a candidate. Neither one of us may seem moderate to many of you. And I'm being told by some people that I should act in a way that will make me seem moderate, more like you, more like everybody else. Well, most people don't run for office. So those of us who do must be different in some way. But also, the reality is that you're not like everybody else either. Still, there are ways in which I'm not moderate. I'm not moderate about listening to people. I'm not moderate about learning from people. I'm not moderate about wanting accurate and up-to-date information when I act. I'm not moderate about my obligation to those who are poor, to those who are sick, to those who are in prison. And I'm not moderate in believing that those who are wealthy are no smarter and no more deserving than the rest of us, no less and no more. How do I come by these beliefs? Well, some people inherit wealth. I didn't. Some people inherit nobility. I inherited service and independence. My grandmother, Eunice Yates, lived in rural Georgia. She was the one who brought together other women for workshops put together by the local home economics program of Co-op Extension. She wrote the little newspaper articles about her neighborhood for the local paper. And she did who knows how many jobs in her church. Her son, my father, was a teacher. He was a teacher who mentored many other teachers. He has been active in his church. And he took me to African American churches, to civil rights meetings when I was a teenager. At 93, he's still passionate about justice and about politics. My other grandmother, Louise Buchanan, was a university librarian at a time when very few of those jobs were filled by women. She helped students learn, and her daughter, my mother, was also a librarian in the public libraries here in Virginia, and also worked with the League of Women Voters when I was young. So there's a century of face-to-face service to communities behind me, bringing me to the point of the service I've done all my life. From their service and their independent thinking, I learned that I had an obligation to do the same, and I learned to think independently as they did. From 1998 to 2003, my job was grassroots organizing mentor with the Center for Health, Environment, and Justice. In that job, people called me from all over the United States to try to get some help. They were desperate people facing landfills coming up in their neighborhoods next to their homes, facing toxic waste from local industry, facing poisonous material that was just coming up out of the earth after years had gone by. My first task was to tell them that I didn't have a magic wand that would solve the problem. I couldn't call on some movie lawyer. There wasn't a federal agency that was going to come down and sweep their problems away. They themselves, with their courage, their strategic thinking, using the tools that we all have inherited from the Bill of Rights. They had the solution, and I could help them to attain that solution. Many of those people went on to make their communities much better places to live, to make their families safer. I'm proud of the part I played in that I guided them through the process. To do that, I had to listen carefully. I had to understand what they were saying about their community. I had to encourage them. I had to encourage them to discuss and decide what they wanted to happen in their community. Not what I wanted, not what I thought was best, not what somebody else told them was the best they could get, but their choice. And then I could help them achieve that. In some cases, these were people who were so justifiably angry that I had to help them calm down so they could focus on the problem. In other cases, they were so quiet and timid that I had to work with them to bring their voices out so they could speak for themselves. I had to help them think through how they could work with their neighbors, what information they needed, and what local allies they could find. This is the work I do. Other people do other jobs. People repair plumbing. They wait tables. They nurse. They put out fires, jobs I respect. But I wouldn't be very good at doing those jobs. I do social justice. I help real people in real situations get what's fair. Like those who came before us, we are served by a network of hope and justice. Nonprofit organizations, civic groups, congregations, freelance individuals, and local and state and federal government, businesses, all interconnect to make our communities more livable, more fair. I've been a positive part of that kind of network all my life. I put 40 years, and I'm not just 40 years old, but 40 years of my life I've been doing this kind of work. I've helped people in need of all colors, creeds, and conditions. I know how to practice democracy, the real, down-home, grassroots kind. Government is not a horrible monster, but government also is not a genie with a magic wand that can just solve our problems for us. Government is a tool that our ancestors created and that we continually work to improve. We all need to do our part and understand government in some way, just as we all need to know how to drive to get around. But we don't all need to be skilled mechanics. We do all like to have somebody who knows the process and can fix our car. I'm certainly glad there are other people in the world who make music, drive trucks, build houses. Like them, I have a useful task. Right now, I think I can do that task for you, for our community, in the General Assembly. I can read a law and explain it to other people. I've worked inside a state agency. I know how they work. And I've worked on the outside as a watchdog to help keep state agencies doing what they are supposed to be doing. I know which problems go to which public official and why. If you have enough trust in our democratic republic to give it a try, and enough suspicion to know that we need to keep a watchful eye on government, then I am your person. If you understand that the best way to see if government is working right is to see what it does for the most privileged and what it does to the most despised, then I'm your person. If you think that a combination of volunteerism, of nonprofit groups, of government, of business, of congregations working together needs to be represented in Richmond, then I am your person. Now it's up to you, you and the other not so ordinary people of the 29th District. Please be registered to vote by October 15th and come out to the polls on November 5th. Thank you for listening.